Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for Dynamic Effort Squat and Deadlift Day. I'm pretty happy with the training. This was a little tiring. I can tell the fatigue is accumulating from a pretty hard work week getting used to all the conjugate again. So again, man, I felt this. And I know people are like, it's lightweight, we're changed. It's like, you guys have no idea. If you've never done this, people who've done this are like, I understand, dude. That explosive stuff against bands and chains, 30-second breaks, it adds up. I do feel like my waistline's still a little squishy this week since switching over back to bro dieting with my fasted window, but I feel like my body will adapt. I just feel like I have better calorie control if I go with the bro type dieting, even when doing my intermittent fasting. I just have better calorie control. I feel like I've been getting a lot hungrier lately, been adding extra food in, extra fat and everything. And it's just not been ideal, especially if I don't want to do all the cardio. I want to really focus on the lifting more, so I'm scaling the cardio way back to do more training volume. I'm doing conjugate with extra workouts in here, you know, and I'm hitting pretty high volumes for stuff like triceps and everything. Have a whole bicep day in the middle of the week with weighted chins in there, doing 20 sets for biceps. So there's a point where I go, I just don't want to do a lot of cardio right now. I really want to focus on getting stronger and jacked. And so again, that strength needs to come up. I need to gain muscle, need to lose fat. And I just feel like when my lifting volumes go up like this and my appetite is going up too, carbohydrates are simply a better fuel source for me. But the brown rice is what makes me squishy. So it's like, that's what happens. Like the fiber in the brown rice, for some reason, it bloats me a little. It takes me a little while to adapt to it. But man, I do feel like I've always had good luck recomping when I go with that approach, especially with the fasting. So again, I'm just wanting to focus on that. But let's talk about the training. So I ran a little heavier on the weight versus with the safety bar because technically I'm stronger on the straight bar. So I went and used my squat bar. I want to get used to getting that squat bar on my back a little bit more. Right, I think it's good to get used to that, get into those positions as my shoulder health improves. I am debating if I want to keep dips in or if I want to just hammer lots of barbell work for my chest. I do like the dips, but I do worry that they may not be the best thing for my shoulders. I have to think on it further. My God, the training stimulus though, especially for like doing sets up 10 to 12 with weighted dips, man, does it light my chest and triceps up, right? You guys know what I'm talking about who've done it. I've got to think about what I want to keep in those slots though, as far as that accessory work. Of whether if I want to do that or if I just want to push lots of closed grip benching, closed grip floor press, closed grip incline, and incline dumbbells or not. That's stuff to think about. I do feel like I need a little bit more of the closed grip pressing volume in any way I break it down though, especially like on the max every day, right? I feel like just more of that volume. And then even if I keep the dips in, it needs to be there. But the speed squats, we went a little heavier, so 110 pounds of chains. What is that on the bar? I have it written down on my thing. It's 195, right? 55-pound bar. So we got 195 on the bar, 110 in chains. And for people who don't understand, yes, that's intentional. I know it's light, but the whole point is to be explosive, right? We're trying to explode. Notice even my thing, if you guys heard me, I make like a seal sound on every rep if I didn't have it muted. So it sounds kind of funny. It's like, oh. So again, you're driving as hard as you can. And again, a lot of times people don't understand this and they think, oh, how does this possibly work? But when I do it, when clients have done it, you guys watched me get really, really strong. It carries over so well to the max work and it doesn't beat your recovery up. Like it's fatigue, it's hard when you're doing it. Like it's objectively harder than you're expecting it to be when you do speed work. I have guys who throw up when the first time you have them do a rotation like this, especially against bands or chains, heavy bands or chains, and those 30-second breaks. That's what gets you. But I did 10 sets of that. Then I did sumos with chains. I want to do a little more sumo for the speed pulls, mainly just for the quad, the extra hip extension. I feel like my glutes and my hamstrings are on point right now. I did a 500-pound Good Morning relatively easily as a max this week. 500-pound Good Morning. I barely worked Good Mornings back in. I can barely squat 500 again right now. I did a 500 Good Morning. My hamstrings and my glutes are absolutely not my limits. Yeah, my hamstrings are good. So I'm looking at some of this going, let's make some of the stuff a little more quad dominant. Let's keep building the quads. keep bringing up the good mornings. Let's bring up the quads. And I've had people joke with that and say, you can't just speed box good morning and leg extension your way to an elite squat. I'm like, I think you can. I think you can. I've done it with clients. I mean, of course, I'm doing belt squats too. But that was the thing, man. I'm coming in pushing the reps really hard on those, right? Just trying to get that burn. But on this stuff, I'm like, yeah, let's do the sumo. Let's get used to these wide stances because the sumos carries over to the wide boxes back and forth. So I want to do more of this. And I get strong at conventional anyways, right? What happened when I trained sumo exclusively for like a year. And then I walked in and hit like a 10-pound heavier conventional than my sumo. After training sumo exclusively, like I was just sumo. Then I walked in and tested conventional and it was stronger. Funny how that works. But I do feel like there's a good response there. So I do want to do a little bit more sumo for that. And then I'm like, let's do some rep work on good mornings. I grabbed the safety bar. This is by far the hardest bar. So again, making it more difficult. And I'm like, okay, I did 12 reps. They were a little nauseating with 200. So we did this at 200. So I put another 20 on, went 220 and cranked out 12 more. I felt like this was good. I do want to start pumping these volumes up on good morning. So I feel like volume work on the good morning always did a lot for me. It built my max good morning. It builds my squats, everything, right? It builds it up for me a lot. So I want to just maybe work with this sort of weight, maybe on the safety bar, and just keep pushing the reps up. Maybe if I get to where I could do sets of 20 with this weight, what's that going to do? Yeah, that'll carry over tremendously to that max. I mean, so what happens if I get my good morning to 550? What happens if I get my good morning to 600? I did 500 this week, and I'm barely training it again. At that point, literally all I have to do is make my quads bigger. Speed boxes will give me the technique and the power. I just have to get bigger quads. And my squat will skyrocket. I mean, where would my deadlift be? I mean, that's kind of the thought I have. I'm like, man, I got that 500. It wasn't that hard. And I hit a 555 before years ago when I was pushing the good morning, and I felt like I still had room to grow. So what happens if I get to a 600 good morning? What happens to my squat and deadlift? Like, man, you just need quads at that point. You just need grip at that point for the deadlift. So again, what did I do after that? I did the 2 sets of good morning. My speed work is a lot of volume. It's just a lot of work. So I'm not feeling like I have the same work capacity left at the end. I'm like, let's just get a good workout. I wanted to get some good mornings in. I'm like, I just don't feel like doing glute ham raises and upper back work again. My whole back is fried this week. Between doing 15 sets of lats, doing a 500 good morning, doing speed pulls, all this other stuff, I feel like my back is just kind of like, we've had enough for the week. Do some reverse hypers and let's call it a week. Let's rest up, gain some muscle from it over the weekend so we can come in and hit some big lifts on Monday and Tuesday, let my body rest. So I'm like, I'm just going to do my sets of 12, and they were nice and challenging. I had a rep or two in reserve maybe, but trying to focus on that depth. So those, I just want to get that super deep depth. Why? Because that's what's going to build the quads for that bottom of a squat. And then I can use the leg extensions because I don't have the same stretch because I use a reverse hyper. I don't have the same stretch, so I'm just using it just to pump the hell out of the quads and just put meat on them. Just get them bigger. Some high rep sets of 20. I couldn't even get 20 on the third set. I was burned out. I couldn't make it. I got about 16, 17, and my quads were just fried. But those were short breaks, too. Those were like 60 seconds between sets. So I just did the supersets here. So after the 2 sets of good mornings, I'm like, let me do 3 supersets of the belt squats. Try to get 12s, which is what I've been getting with this weight. Focus on getting well below parallel. And my quads hurt. My quads hurt, especially the lower quads. Like they've been hurting. I've had DOMs in those lower quads almost every day for the past 2 weeks since I've been doing this. So I got that, and then I supersetted it with my normal sets of 25. By the way, I forgot to do reverse hypers as a warm-up today. That's why you didn't see it on there. I literally forgot. It didn't even cross my mind. I was so busy trying to get the chain set up that I didn't even think about it. Eventually we'll go to bands. That's kind of the next tier. You can't run bands a long time. They beat you up, though. Chains will look better on camera. It looks good. We're really kind of getting back into that that work thing. That's why I threw on work boots today. I'm like, let's throw the work boots on. Let's do some chains. Let's get some work done. Get in, just do some work, right? Get work done. But I did my sets of 25 on the reverse hypers here, which are very challenging for me at this weight. Like, again, I get a hell of a back pump and glutes, you know, and then after that, it's like, so we did supersetted this with the belt squats, and I'm like, well, let me take 3 sets of leg extensions after, just to keep chasing that pump. So even if we set aside the max work and the speed work, which does have quad developed, especially that speed work, I still did 6 total sets of 12 on the belt squat this week, and then 6 sets of leg extensions at, 20-ish. Some of the sets didn't quite hit 20. I think earlier in the week, a couple of the sets went over 20. Just, I get what I can get. So we're in that range. And that's actually a lot of work. And I didn't even bother with the glute ham raises today. I didn't need them. I did them earlier in the week. I did those good mornings for volume instead, the sets of 12. But yeah, so with a lot of it, I think if I just keep pushing the good mornings up, get strong at good mornings, build muscle in the good mornings, just build the quads to go along for the ride, and then the speed work will build the squat, right? So quads. And I normally on a conjugate type system, we wouldn't do that, but my posterior chain is strong, guys. I did a 500-pound good morning. I can do 550 off a pretty big deficit deadlift right now. I feel like those are in a good place. Obviously, we want them to grow. We want more out of them. But the quads really need a lot of attention. I feel like even when I look at any of my squats, if I just had more quad, because of what my good morning is, I'll push through. I just have to have enough quad to drive it, right? Have to have enough quad. So I want to hammer the hypertrophy work on those more. Build those quads are the gods. So again, we did the reverse hypers in the 3 sets of leg extensions. And again, I feel like people can argue about the reverse hyper. They're like, well, maybe it's not the best angles doing it. So yeah, it's like, yeah, but it's what I have, and it burns like hell. And I think that's what matters, really, right? That's what matters. So notice, yeah, the skin's a little looser today. I'm feeling a little boofy. I feel like it'll tighten up. I just need to lose some body fat and drop some water. So keep the diet on point, keep it clean. Be fasted through the morning. It's kind of hard to not lose body fat when you train hard if you have a intermittent fasting doing a chicken brown rice type diet, So, yeah. So that's going to be the idea. But again, finished up with the sets of leg extensions, just burn those quads, get that burn, push the leg extensions. And yeah, so I mean, for just high rep hypertrophy work, I did 12 sets for quads this week, not counting any of the speed work or any of that. So again, that's pretty good amount of volume for those. And that's the sort of volumes I did when I hit a 600 squat in the past. I was about 12 sets a week, all right around 12. Works pretty good for me for quads. So yeah, pretty happy with today's workout, pretty happy with the training week overall. Like I said, things I do need to think about a little bit. I need to see kind of where my close grip pressing is to see if I'm really ideal with the dips or not, if it's really doing what I need. I'm a little worried, like my upper chest almost feels a little weak. So I may need to push more incline work and more just barbell work again. We'll see though. But yeah, pretty happy with this training week overall. Pretty happy with it. I'm going to just keep focusing on recomposition now, getting stronger. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.